Hey, YouTubers, Tazman here, bringing you another episode of Tazman's AI Dungeon. And so I decided we started messing with scenarios in the last episode. And I know that, obviously I'm a very slow typer. But I went and I tweaked our scenario and I actually created another one just to kind of show. I don't know if it's official best practices, but I've been playing some AI Dungeon and I've noticed some things where it seemed like um, the scenario developer kind of doesn't fully understand what some best practices might be. So we're going to go over some practices that I think are good practices. And we're actually going to use a scenario that on the free account, as I believe as soon as you load it basically starts having issues. And I'm going to show you what those are, and maybe we'll try and delete the different things that are causing those issues and talk about them so that, when you're developing scenarios for others, that you might understand how to best do that, that even free accounts or whatever can use them, if that makes any sense. I believe, have comment. I had a community comment. Let's see. I don't think, was it this one? Uh, I think I read in the last episode. Did I read comments? I think I did it. If I didn't, I'm sorry for. I think I did actually because I remember that name. So anyway, I do have one comment that I wanted to read. That actually came a day ago. It was from episode 11. Yeah, those were 9 and 7. So I guess that doesn't matter anyway. So episode 11, so our last episode, where I believe I was talking about maybe trying to get more random, being able to have almost like a dice rolling thing. And this person, which I think was the commenter of last episode too, iridescence 93, says if you want like an RPG with dice rolling, probably easier to just do it yourself and instruct the AI on what should happen. I've thought of trying that. One thing I've noticed is that the AI very much defaults to power fantasy, so forcing your protagonist to fail sometimes with a system like this and having the AI react to that may actually make a better story. And I actually was thinking about this. So I was trying to set it up where I was telling the AI basically to try and flip a coin. But using the scripting system, as I was thinking, maybe what I could do is set it up so that when I send something, before it goes to the AI, it's intercepted by the scripting system, and then just have a simple dice roller in there that would tell me pass or fail based off of what the dice system I wanted to do. So maybe using a tilde, the little squiggly line to activate it to say, if you see this, first run this and then replace whatever it has with this information. And then have it do it and simply return success or fail. That way I would have something like I cast a fireball, or I try uh and then have my little die thing and then cast a fireball. And then basically what it would do is flip a coin, and it might return and succeed or and fail. So what then is passed to the AI would be I try and succeed to cast a fireball, or I try and fail to cast a fireball, if that makes any sense. It's still running around in my head exactly how it would work. So anyway, that was a really good comment. And then I did reply back saying, what I say? Oh, I was talking about I think it's called Heroes or Hero that they've been doing. Um as the what is the name of this company is and the carousels are back. So now I have to scroll all latitude's place. Um, I do have I did say that they're working on something called Heroes or Hero that actually is more like actually sitting at a TTRPG where you're sitting at a table or something and it actually has dice rolling, has characters with stats and all that stuff. Well, I'm going through a lot of time. So anyway, then they replied back saying, one idea I have is to play the Dungeon Master and create story cards for an AI party that would then react like RPG players. When I tried it before, the AI wasn't really advanced enough to keep up with it that well, but I should try again as the DeepSeek um, model, I guess, is more advanced. Imagine how fun it would be to be able to run and simulate Pathfinder D&D campaigns as a solo player whenever you want. I think this is one of the futures of this software as an AI improves. Blue, I can read sometimes, and I agree. All right, so anyway, let's get to the breaking. So let's go ahead and click on our portrait here. So what I've done, one, I've updated our high speed to make it a lot more in depth, and I also was doing some testing. And then this guy is designed just to break the system. I think we're going to start with this to refine our thing. I'm going to show you what I did and the testing I did and show you how it actually works. Then we'll go ahead and, if we have time, do this one over here. So I'm going to go ahead and click our scenario here. You'll see I actually added a lot more text. And you can see that I have tons of variables in here because I really wanted to test out how the variables work. So as you can see, it used to be just one line. I think this might be pretty much the same, but as you can see here, it says character.name. You sit behind the wheel uh, of you sit behind the wheel of and then describe the getaway car, which is a variable. Weaving in and out of traffic, you ponder your life choices and how exactly you ended up in your current predicament. You can't help but reflect on the enticings of your friends as that should be as they convinced you that this was a good idea, like taking candy from a baby in and out before they even get a chance to notify the authorities. Easy money. Nothing could be further from the truth. You know exactly uh, you don't know exactly, wow, you don't know exactly know what happened. I don't think that's supposed to see this is where it's always good to look at these. What happened in the bank, but apparently the silent alarm was triggered. You snap back to reality, sirens blaring. As you look in the rearview mirror, you feel as if the entire police force is hot on your tail. In the passenger seat is the mastermind's name. That's going to be their first name and the mastermind's last name. So I wanted to separate these and I'll explain why in just a little bit. Um, they have their laptop open or giving you just directions to help you lose your escort. You have known the mastermind's name pretty much all your life. They have always been the mastermind behind all the trouble you have been in, but for some reason you continue to follow them. Behind the mastermind name is in the back seat is the enforcer's name, the enforcer's last name. So both of those, first and last name, they played as a defensive lineman for your high school football team. The enforcer's name is the type of person that is not afraid of anyone and could easily pummel most people. Next to the enforcer's name in the back seat is the money man's name and the money man's last name. You have known the money man's name for almost as long as you've known the mastermind's name. They have always dreamed of pulling off the perfect heist. They have watched just about every show made about bank heists. Turn right here, the mastermind name says. So that's the new beginning. And let's go in, and I've made some cards did I do the AI? I don't know if I did the AI instructions or not, but I did do plot essentials, I believe. So let's go ahead and say edit real quick. So the other thing I wanted to point out is that's that beginning that I had there, this is actually showing you everything that's being used so far token wise. So as you can see, for the free player or free people, this has actually got a decent amount. It could probably be tweaked maybe to make more, but it has a decent amount of context available that it can use for memories or whatever else it needs. Now, if you're in the premium account, then you want to, if your story starts getting up to this area, that means that only premium players are going to be able to do it. So hopefully that makes sense. So as you can see here, this is our plot essentials. I guess I don't have, oh, I do have the AI. No, I have the story. This is that whole story at the beginning. You sit behind the wheel. What was that? There was a couple things. You ponder your life choice. It's a no, right? Here it is. You don't know exactly what happened in the bank. There was another one. I'm not going to worry about it. I'll find it later. Um, But anyway, so there's that. As you can see here, it's saying you are character name. So it's going to grab that variable character name, a 21-year-old male. You have chosen to be the getaway driver. You have been chosen to be the getaway driver due to your skills behind the wheel. So what this is going to do is it's going to set up the AI to know one, your name, how old you are, your gender, and it's also going to give you a bit of advantage when it comes to doing tricky moves in a car because it says I have skills behind the wheel. So that's kind of how that's set up. Now we get into the tricky part. So let's start just simply with a car. As you can see, you can come in here and just add the exact same thing. So you drive A and then you describe your car. We're just using a custom, calling it a vehicle, and it's called your car. We want it to come up anytime you say my car, your car, getaway car. Those are the triggers I had for it. But we're not going to go over every one of these. We're just maybe do the mastermind because they're all kind of the same. But as you can see here, that this is where you can actually see that those variables that we set up can be used in story cards. So this will say the mastermind's name and the mastermind's last name, the mastermind of the group, and then it kind of gives just that information. Although you are starting to doubt that because, he failed. They're responsible for planning, coordinating, and directing the team during the robbery. They assembled the crew, made sure each member had the necessary skills to do their part. What I didn't know 100% is, can I actually do that in here? So it actually turns out, yes, you can. You can use those variables here, and you can also use them here. So the way I have it set up down here is that the mastermind's name will be something that triggers, and then there's a comma, and then the mastermind's name space last name. So we can either invoke this card or trigger this card by saying the mastermind's name or the mastermind's first and last name together with a space between them. So in a nutshell, that is kind of our story card. So I wanted to really quick just show you how this actually looks when it runs. Let's see, we're at 13 minutes. I think we're okay. So we're going to hit play. So what this is going to do is generate a new adventure for me. And there's a lot of typing in here. And the reason I wanted that is just to show you, the whole first name, last name thing. So my name will be T4zzM4nn's. I could actually do space and a last name. It does seem to be able to sometimes call me Tasman instead of like the last name as well, but not always. So here's the getaway car. Let's just say it is a Mustang GT. I don't know, my favorite car. GT, sure. The mastermind's name. Let's do maybe Brian. Kind of like Brain. Brian, last name. He's the mastermind. Let's make him smart. Then we have the enforcer's name. How about Chet? Nice football player name, I guess. That's, I don't know if that's a sportist. Or I don't know, stereotyping? I don't know. Their last name will be Stone. And then our money man's name, I don't know. Let's do maybe Gil. I guess I got it done 2 L's. And maybe cash, C-A, cash. And now it's going to generate our story. And we'll read it just so you can see how it all fits together, and then we'll jump into the other stuff. So here you can see it successfully and properly did our plot essentials. You can do that with the plot essentials, all the different things it seems like you can actually use variables in. If we go look at our story cards, you can see now our story card says you drive a Mustang GT, so that all worked. You can see our cards look right. If we go to Brian Smart here, you can see Brian Smart. Down here, you can see Brian, comma, Brian Smart. You can see it, put it in here. So you can actually use those variables pretty much everywhere you want. And then, of course, because I did the mastermind's name and the mastermind's last name, I can actually also, separate those. So we already read kind of this. You can see it saying Tasman. If we go, you can see behind Brian, notice it's just his first name is Chet Stone. So we're using both of his, but down here we're actually just using one of them. We're just using his first name. And then of course, Gil, we have the same thing where we're saying his full name. Then we're just using the single name, first name only. All right, so Brian says turn right, you slam the wheel, turn to the right. Tire schooling is the Mustang fishtails. Turn is sharp, and the pursuing police cruisers have to brake hard, momentarily losing ground. Their tires leave black streaks on the asphalt. They're falling back, Brian exclaims, fingers flying across the laptop. Keep it up, Tasman. We need to put at least 4 blocks between us before we go dark. Dark, you ask, flicking to the rear view mirror. A few of the cruisers are already regaining speed, their sirens still piercing the air. Shut off the transponders. What transponders? Says with tight tension. I don't know what he's talking about there. We're only going to hit continue once and then we'll go ahead because I wanted to show you also what this is doing. So Gil Cash, in this case, it decided to use his full name. Reached across Chet, only used his first name. So I don't know why it does that, but down here it actually is jumping back to just regular Gil. The dashboard lights. Got a Gil, adjusting your seatbelt. Weird arc. Okay, I don't know what the transponder thing is, but that's not what this is about. So now if we go ahead and exit, you'll actually see that we have our story here. I'm going to delete it because we don't actually need it. Although I'm kind of curious what the transponder thing's talking about. Let's go ahead and go back in here. And now we're going to do the crashing one. And I'm going to show you why it crashes and some of the errors that I've seen in various scenarios. So if I click on this, I'm just going to hit play. One way you can tell that it's having issues that I didn't even know until a little while is you get this little guy right here that if I click on it, well, I can't do it with this one because it won't let me see the context yet. But if I continue once, there you go. So now if I continue once and I click on this, you'll actually see under view context, we have this little red dot saying, hey, you're losing stuff. Now, also, if you remember back a while ago when we were talking about story cards, we talked about how story cards are the first thing to drop. If it can't fit things into the context, first thing it gets rid of is story cards. So you want to use them wisely. And as you can see here, I have friend 1 apartment, friend 2 apartment, friend 3 apartment, friend 4 apartment. There's 2, by the way. And then I have friend 1, friend 2, friend 3, and friend 4. Then I also have the university. There are so many bad practices in all this stuff, by the way. So one thing is you don't necessarily want the apartment to load up if you're not actually at the apartment. In fact, you probably would want to be at friend 1's apartment and then it actually load up friend 1. So in friend 1, I probably don't want to reference their apartment at all. Other words, if friend 1 is loaded here because they're at school, it's also going to load their apartment. And we can see that if we go here, click on view context, you can see, look at all the story card stuff we're using. So here's our actual adventure. Here's our essentials. Here's our story cards. And here is our instructions, our AI instructions. And as you can see, our response is super thin and everything, it's 100%. So right off the get-go, we're seeing that some of the item could be fit into context. If we click details, you'll see that 4 of our story cards are not loading. If I go into here, we can see that 5 of the 9 story cards were triggered. We have our friend 4 apartment, friend 3 apartment that loaded, friend 2, friend 1. All these things all loaded, but could not fit, right? If we go look at our adventures and memories, you'll see instantly we're pegged at 100%. This story is going to have lots and lots of issues. So let's talk about what those issues are, where they come from. One of them is in my context. You'll actually see I'm referencing friend 1, friend 2, friend 3, and friend 4. I'm forcing it to load all those. If I go look at friend 1, for example, and this is just AI generated junk just to kind of take up a lot of space. In fact, I even think it's been doubled. You'll see that the word apartment is in here. Now, my big mistake there is if I go look at any of these apartments, the word apartment is actually going to trigger. So anytime an apartment, no matter whose apartment I go to, is flagged, it's going to load all 4 of these apartments. And each of these apartments actually have a decent amount of information in them. So this is going to be one thing you probably don't want to do. You might actually want to have your context only load the apartment if I say so and so's and apartment. And then I would also probably even want it to be something like that, so that only when I'm referencing friend 1's apartment will it do that. And then it's actually going to reference friend 1, which will pull up their card. So that's one of the things we can do to help this. The other thing is, like I said, we don't necessarily want all 4 of our friends to be force loaded. Um, Especially being a free account. Now, if we're a paid account and you actually have 4 friends, like in our car, we had all four of us loaded, and we weren't causing too much of an issue. However, the other thing I've noticed in some scenarios where they have, say, a person in here, well, they kind of duplicate that information in the plot essentials. So here you can see we have friend 1. So not only is our plot essentials here, every single time it loads, it's going to load friend 1, it's going to load friend 3. Then inside those cards, it's going to load the apartment, it's going to load everything else. Friend 2 is going to load friend 4, friend 3 is going to load friend 2, friend 4 is going to load friend 1. So as you can see, all this stuff I've seen where people actually kind of have the same information that's in the story card, but it's inside the actual plot essentials. So the best way, because we don't need our friends to load every single time, if we're in a class and none of our friends are in that class, if we have this information in here, it's going to load those friends every single time. So we definitely don't want to do that. You can have this part here that says good friends as long as we're not loading story cards based off of the word friend or friends. So if we come down here, nope, it's just when we actually invoke friend 1. What is this? I don't remember adding that. Maybe I did. Oh, actually, you know what I bet that is? Because I think I did it here too. I think that's the append thing. Because I said in the generator settings to append the previous ones as a new entry. Yes, that is exactly what that is. So anyway, those are some things you don't want to do. You don't want to reference things, story cards, especially from your plot essentials, other than ones that you really want to reference. So for example, I could reference, if I had one called my car And I just wanted it for organization purposes because I could add my car here saying it's a 2025 Mustang GT hardtop convertible with all the bells and whistles. But if I really wanted, I could have in here something saying your car is a Mustang, and then have your car trigger the card. We've kind of gone over that before. But things you definitely don't want to do is have cards always trigger other cards, such as this, where every single one of these is going to trigger the apartment. So if we went through and, I'm just gonna to quickly do it, I'm gonna get rid of the word apartment here and just see if maybe we can get it to not lose quite as much stuff. We're just gonna go to each of the friends now. Apartment here. And I know that's making this not make sense anymore, but we're not trying to make it make sense. We're just trying to hopefully get rid of that little yellow exclamation point. And then maybe here's an apartment here. So I think that's all four friends, and we've got rid of their apartments. It looks like we're just talking to friend 1 and 2 maybe, so maybe get rid of 3 and 4 in this case. So I'm going to hit delete on those. Now, of course, this has already been loaded and we've already got our crash. But hopefully, maybe if we, hopefully it doesn't have all that stuff loaded. Oh, here's the other thing. In university, I believe, I thought I put, yeah, your friends, friend 1, 2, 3, and 4 all go to the university with you. Every time I say the word university, school, or class, I don't necessarily need it to do that. I'm trying to remember all the things I did to trigger the bad news. Let's go ahead and just hit continue and see if it gets any better. I don't think it will right away. It will actually take it a little time, I would think, because it has to get things out of its other memory. Actually, look, I lied. So we go into view context. All right, there we go. Look at that. Now we know that we've referenced friend 1 and friend 2 because they're both there. So let's go see. Maybe we have both those guys. So we have friend 1, friend 2 apartment, friend 2. I might have left friend 2 apartment in there, and university. So already we're actually seeing quite the improvement. Where's friend 2? Right here. It might have referenced apartments somewhere up in here. But look at that. We already have gotten rid of our little yellow exclamation point, which I'm really happy that we were able to do that. So be careful when you're generating your scenario that you're not constantly triggering things that you don't want to constantly trigger. I wonder if we'll lose the apartment after a couple times. Yeah. Oh no, we still got friend 2's apartment. The other thing is try not to have your cards actually be too big. In these cases, you'll see this one. I'm assuming they're saying that 1,000 is the max that you would want it. It's going to let you go bigger, but you want to try and keep them as short as possible. And remember that anytime you hit enter or something like that, it's another character. The word and is going to be 3 characters, where the symbol and is just a single character. So using those, you might be able to tweak them a little to get them a little lower. We're at 30 minutes, so I think I there's probably more that we could actually talk about this one, but hopefully that kind of gives you an idea to uh watch in stories you're doing. If you get a story or a scenario that you're doing and it starts flagging that, go look at the things. You can tweak it. You don't have to instantly just get rid of the adventure just because it's starting to flag things. Go look, do they have things loading that don't need to be loading every single time? Are there just a bunch of fluff inside their story cards? Get rid of anything that's really irrelevant. if someone says they distrust you and you talk and talk and talk to them and get their trust, go delete they distrust you out of their story card, so that it's optimized. To have really good adventures, you're going to want to constantly be editing the current story to make sure it's actually, formatted properly. You're going to want to edit your plot essentials. You're going to want to edit your story cards. You might want to go edit the AI instructions and stuff like that. The more you keep those things uh, in tune, I guess, with your current story, the better your story is going to be. I have one story that I think is closing in on 3 to 4,000, I think, in my paid one, and it's doing really good, and it hasn't really forgot very many memories because I've been fine tuning it right from the get go, and trying to keep it really nice. So, thank you guys for watching. One other thing I wanted to say, if any of you guys have scenarios that you've done or adventures that you really like, let me know. I'd love to try them. Or if you develop one, send me a link. If you want me to give you guys make the car chase one available for you, I'll make it a private link and just put it in the video description or in a comment. Let me know what you guys want. Man, my throat is going dry. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, be sure to leave a thumbs up down below. Aside from that, comment, like, and subscribe. Click that little notification bell. Join my Discord channel. I gotta think of everything I say. Tell other people about my channel. Have them check it out. If they like what they see, they can subscribe. We grow the channel, everybody wins. And that is it, my friends. Until next time, I'll be seeing you later. Bye.